Hey, what's up guys? This is Cole with CJC Off-Road. I am super excited to share this with you guys today. This is my personal 3rd gen Cummins build. It's an absolute dream truck of mine. It's been in the works over the last year and a half here at CJC Off-Road, and I have to say this is probably the craziest 3rd gen build to ever come out of our shop. I'm super excited to share this thing with you guys, so let's go ahead and take a look. As you guys can see, this truck started with fairly humble beginnings. This truck essentially fell in my lap. It's a 2005 G56 6-speed manual Cummins. Because the paint was a bit tired, we kind of had to go back and basically start fresh with the paint on this truck. And we were looking at it and I was like, you know, I really did want an 06 plus style truck. So we opted to go ahead and let's just go full kill. So we said, okay, ADV fiberglass fenders. Those would allow us to basically update to the 06 style front end. Combined with that, I decided let's go ahead and throw an SRT10 hood on the truck as well. I was able to track down a new old stock hood for it. And from there, one of our techs here at CJC Off-Road, Wyatt, basically turned this into his personal passion project. We don't typically do fiberglass work here, but he kind of took it upon himself and kind of ran with it and basically hand fit all the fiberglass on this truck. You'll notice as you look at the shots of the build, he nailed it. Every single door gap, everything looks factory. He's actually able to retain the full fuel door functionality, not running like an aftermarket billet fuel door, and really kind of knocked it out of the park, making this thing, you know, a really meticulous, one-off, detail-oriented build. From there, we said, okay, you know, this kind of level of fiberglass work, we need to really get this truck looking nice. So we reached out to our friend Tony at Autobahn Collision Center here in California. Tony went ahead and basically turned this thing into a showpiece. I wasn't expecting such a nice paint job to go on this truck because we did intend to run it a little bit. But Tony, if you look down the side of this truck, it looks like glass. Absolutely nailed the paint job on this thing. Actually to the point where I was like, man, how are we ever gonna run this truck? But I still wanted to be able to, you know, basically use this truck. So I reached out to our friend Tyler at American Wrap Co. He applied X-Spill 10 mil film across the entire entire exterior of the truck, basically protecting the truck with a self-healing film to go ahead and preserve the really nice deep gloss black look that it has on it. So speaking of taking the truck off-road, from the get-go, I knew I wanted to run Carli's Unchained system. If you look across all the various options for suspension for these 3rd gen trucks, no one really quite offers a complete out-of-the-box package quite like Carli's Unchained system. What the system is it utilizes 3.5-inch diameter king shocks up front, custom shock towers to allow those shocks to cycle properly, Carli's long arms, as well as 3.0 bypass 4-tube shocks in the rear. Basically, this is along the lines of what you'd see like in a desert off-road race truck, but scaled down and tailored specifically for these diesel trucks. Now, what's really cool about this is this thing cycles as much travel as you can possibly bolt onto these trucks. Basically, everything to allow the suspension to fully cycle without having the coils come out of the bucket or anything along those lines. You're essentially making this truck so capable off-road that you'd almost need to run a roll cage in order to fully take advantage of what it's capable of. Now, if you're wondering what the Unchained system is capable of, check out, there's a video we did a couple years back of Dan Torino's 3rd gen. That truck was actually a lot of the inspiration for this build. And it really shows what these Unchained systems can do out of the box. It's actually extremely impressive, and in ways it's actually frightening what these trucks are capable of. So speaking of suspension and performance, as we're looking at this truck, we put the fiberglass fenders on it. And, you know, out of the box, all these trucks get 37, maybe 38-inch tires with fiberglass fenders. And we looked at it and I was like, man, we're really trying to go all out with this build. How can we really push the envelope? So I kind of went back to the drawing board and kind of went with something a little out of the box. So we actually sourced some BF Goodrich KR3. These are off-road desert truck tires that they actually sell for trophy trucks. They're not available to the public typically. It's a 40 by 12.5 by 18 tire. It's a pure race tire, doesn't carry a typical load rating. And we paired those tires with Innovate G600 wheels in a gold anodized finish. The gold is a little bit of a risk in my mind, but I kind of went for it, and now I'm really glad that I did. I feel like the gold actually really ties everything together. The gold anodizing on the wheels, gold anodizing on the shocks really gives kind of a cool, unique, high-end off-road look. And those 40-inch tires obviously did some supporting work, and so with those, we actually opted for a relatively new steering option on the market. That's bad axe steering, in my opinion, after seeing the various options and running a lot of them over the years. The bad axe really is a custom tailored option just for trucks that are meant to be run hard off-road like this. So super heavy duty, all made in the USA, really cool steering setup. From there, we opted for a PSC hydro assist system. So PSC sells a complete kit essentially to allow you to install hydro assist on these trucks. It includes a heavy duty steering box, as well as a hydraulic ram. So there was some fabrication work involved with that. Wyatt, one of our techs here at CJC Off-Road, kind of took the lead and really dialed that setup in, turned out really nicely. From there, we actually used a 2012 and newer style power steering pump to go with all this and help turn these 40-inch tires. And I'll be honest with you guys, the very first time I drove this setup with the 40-inch tires and this PSC setup, I was kind of blown away. You can actually effortlessly turn the steering wheel back and forth without having the typical, you know, whine or hum or anything like that that these third gens exhibit with larger tires. In order to help turn those 40-inch tires up front, we reached out to Todd over at Mercenary Off-Road. Todd makes some of the nicest bumpers available for these trucks. They're entirely fabricated by hand. They're high clearance, desert style, but at the same time being plated to offer a really nice finished look. What this bumper setup is Todd's front A-Bomb series front bumper for the 06 Plus front end, as well as Todd's stock replacement rear bumper, which actually allows us to mount a Baja Designs flush mount light out back. Up front, Todd has a really cool option with these bumpers to allow you to custom mount lights across the top with one of his custom fabricated light bars. So what I opted for was 5 LP6 lights across the front. I feel like it really finishes out the look. It kind of rounds out the desert style I was going for with this build. This front bumper also allows you to mount a Warn winch. So we opted for a Warn VR Evo Series winch. It's actually tucked inside the bumper to also help with functionality off-road and be able to allow for recovery. So really cool, really well thought out product, and one of my favorite parts of the entire build with these bumpers. To round out the lighting package, I opted for Alpha Rex's Lux series lights up front, as well as Alpha Rex's 3rd gen specific rear tail lights. I really like not only how bright the output is on these lights, but also the animations they offer. Whether you're using your turn signals, things like that, it gives a really nice finished high-end look to go along with the build. So very happy with those lights as well. And final light upgrades were a billet 3rd brake light, and that allowed us to mount 3 S2 lights across the back right there. And I was able to actually tie all the wiring for all this lighting together with a Switch Pros mounted to the upper overhead console. Switch Pros basically allows you to organize all the wiring under the hood so you don't have a rat's nest with all the custom wiring going on with a build like this. So very clean way to tidy things up and kind of round out the wiring of a build that's done to this extent. Inside the bed, we opted to run a CJC built multi-panel setup. This allowed us to mount a CJC built Badlands jack mount. Really nice recovery gear to have with a build like this. Helps as well with jacking up a truck with 40-inch tires. Very nice, clean, simple product that tucks under a bed cover with that. We utilize Patton's bed supports for this truck. There's a company called Patton Fabrication that custom builds bed supports for these. We're actually able to dial in the bed preload with these bed supports to help keep the bed from coming apart with the fiberglass fenders. Kind of an important detail for a build like this where you're cutting off the factory sheet metal. From there, we actually utilize a custom fabricated spare tire mount. This allowed us to mount a 40-inch tire inside the bed. Now, these spare tire mounts are not currently available, but we are hoping to have an option like these available soon. You may notice we kept the stock spare under the bed. The reason for that is to keep as much weight on the back of the truck as possible. If you put these trucks on scales, the weight is very biased toward the front, so we like to get as much weight as we can toward the back to help kind of even out how these trucks cycle off-road. At some point, I actually intend to do some more custom work with that, which we will showcase on a later build update for this truck. What's really cool about the Unchained system is it allowed us to tie in Carli's various additional upgrades available for these trucks. So I'm also running Carli's torsion sway bar up front, Carli's full progressive rear leaf springs out back. I'm running Carli's front differential guard, as well as Carli's front hydro bump stops. Carli's front hydro bump stops are a really cool piece for a build like this that's going to be cycled hard off-road. I ran custom Carli decals throughout to kind of tie the overall gold aesthetic together, and I really feel that, you know, little details like this help make the overall build, so I'm really happy with how they turned out underneath this truck. Another thing you may notice is the custom fender liners. This truck actually features custom front and rear fabricated fender liners from a company called Wheeler Industries. They did require a good amount of custom fitting, which Wyatt in our shop did a killer job of doing. And in my opinion, they really help to kind of round out the little details that we've put into this build. One thing we did to make these inner fenders more functional is I reached out to Line-X and had them put one of their smoother coatings. And that'll kind of help not only give the overall black look that we were going for with this, but they serve a functional purpose in keeping rock noise down as well. What was really fun with this build was kind of being able to basically experience a bit of nostalgia with it, right? So back in the day, we were building and running these third gens. That's kind of where we got started with all of this. And back then we were, cut the fenders off these trucks, put fiberglass fenders on them, and, really push the envelope of what these trucks were capable of back then. And so being able to kind of go back full circle and build something like this has been a lot of fun for us, specifically for Wyatt and our other shop techs that really kind of took this build by the horns and just went for it. So this may be a little more than what we typically do for customer builds here at CJC Off-Road, but we really wanted to kind of showcase what our guys, basically us having fun with a build, just really going for it. So we really hope that you guys enjoyed following this build throughout the process. This is not the last you'll be seeing of this truck. The next video we're putting together on this, we're actually gonna be taking this truck out and stretching its legs off-road. So keep an eye out for that. If you guys have any questions, we're more than happy to help answer, any kind of questions you have regarding this build. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really enjoyed sharing this build with you guys.